Good day, everyone. My name is Bola Dejo, and I work for Society for Family Health as the State Program Manager for Integrative Projects in Lagos State. I'll be presenting on leveraging responsive feedback to redesign demand generation strategy and experience from Integrative Projects in Lagos State. By way of introduction, Integrative Project is a proof of concept project that is working to expand family planning services among community pharmacies, which I'll be referring to as CPs, and patent and proprietary medicine vendors, I'll be referring to them as PPMVs. So we're working with them in Lagos and Kaduna states. Knowledge of contraceptives is very high in Lagos and Kaduna states. In Lagos is 99.9%, while in Kaduna state is 93.7%. However, this has not translated to uptake because Nigeria currently has modern contraceptive prevalence rate, that's MCPR, of 12%. For Lagos State, our MCPR is 29%, while for Kaduna State, it stands at 12.9%. This data is from the National Demographic Health Survey that was conducted in 2018. The private sector accounts for 84% of outlets that store contraceptives and provide FP services. So the CPs and PPMVs, they are under the private sector. Integrative Project works with the Pharmacist Council of Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Health, and the State Ministry of Health to increase the uptake of family planning through these CPs and PPMVs. You see a map of Nigeria showing the two implementation states of Kaduna and Lagos states. Now, since CPs and PPMVs are not the traditional outlets that provide FP services, especially the long-acting reversible contraceptive LAC, it's very important to have a demand generation strategy to increase the uptake as these services are being expanded to them. What we did was to engage those that we called interpersonal communication agents, IPCs. So they were trained to conduct one-on-one demand generation in Lagos and Kaduna communities. And the adoption of this one-on-one IPC strategy was based on the assumption that it encourages privacy and confidentiality, which are very essential for FP service, FP company. Despite deploying the same strategy to Lagos and Kaduna states, the data that we got showed that while mobilization and redeemed referrals were high in Kaduna state, Lagos recorded far lower redeemed referral, especially when you compare it to the mobilization data. And addressing this gap was very important to the success of our implementation because the overall goal of adopting the IPC strategy was to increase the FP uptake by increasing the number of clients that eventually get to the trained CPs and PPMVs for FP services. And this is what we refer to as the redeemed referral. So the project had to discuss this gap with the key stakeholders, and some of the key stakeholders that we identified were the IPCs themselves, the trained CPs and PPMVs, the community members that were serving, and the State Ministry of Health. And we did this through the existing feedback structures like the community dialogue, a quarterly review meetings with the providers, and the monthly review meetings with the IPCs. We got some insights from this responsive feedback, and I'll mention some of them. We saw that the IPCA moving singly does not generate as much curiosity and attention of community members as when they move in groups. We also saw that one IPCA working in community at a time does not allow for enough time to do what we call pre-mobilization activities. That's when they meet with the local chiefs, the community gatekeepers that also help us to create enabling environments. Then we also saw that the trained providers were not contacted to ascertain the times that they will be available to provide the FP services. So what happens is that as they mobilize clients and more clients show interest to take up FP services, they issue referral slips to the clients, and when clients get to the CPs or PPMVs and they say that they're not available, they hardly go back, and we're having what we called missed opportunities. So these insights suggested that group mobilization will afford the IPCs to carry out more detailed pre-mobilization activities to the gatekeepers. So they now have, as they are doing group mobilization, they have enough time to meet with the gatekeepers, the local chiefs that also go to the communities to inform the community members of the planned mobilization and the health outreach that will be taking place in their community. So as the IPCs get to the communities, the acceptance is high because the communities are already aware of their coming. They also meet with the trained CPs to ascertain their availability. So the issue of clients getting there and they are not available was erased because these CPs and PPFs are now waiting for them at their facilities. So as the clients get there, they are providing the services. Another thing they also ascertain from the providers was to know other additional health services that they will be providing aside from the FP services. So some providers were actually offering malaria tests, some were doing BP check, blood sugar monitoring. So these are like add-ons to the primary FP services that they go there for. Then the IPCs, some of them now have the responsibility of accompanying the clients to the provider. So they're not just giving the referral slips out and tell the client to go and meet the providers. As the client indicates interest, they issue the referral slips and they accompany the client to the provider services. Now, can we see the program adjustment that we did and the result that we achieved? Based on the feedback and insight that we gather from the stakeholders, we realized that the one-on-one strategy was not as effective as group IPC, and that the replacement of group IPC strategy with one-on-one strategy with group IPC was very effective, and this we piloted in one local government before we scaled it up to other local governments in Lagos. Now, within the first quarter of this change, mobilization and reading referral increased by 30% and 2% respectively. That's within 1 quarter. And cumulatively within 3 quarters, we see mobilization increased by 32%, while redeemed referral increased by 184%. Now, more clients now receive FP services due to the presence of trained providers, and of course, we're having increased in our uptake. You can see from the bar chart shown here. What are the lessons learned? Now, we saw that applying same intervention strategy to different geographies without considering the socio-economic and cultural environment may not provide the best outcome. And while one-on-one demand generation strategy worked well in Kaduna State, it didn't work so well in Lagos, and as a result, we have to maintain different strategies for the two states.